Hello and welcome to our YouTube channel. Today I'm going to share with you my strategy for EV tires and rims, specifically the winter rim and summer rim strategy. And that's true not only for Kia, Hyundai and Genesis eGMP cars, but for any EV. Winter tires are important if you live in a moderately snowy area. You can get by with all-wheel drive and all-season tires if you live in a moderately snow-covered area. But if you live in a heavy snow area, you definitely need a dedicated winter rim. Consumer Reports did some testing with an all-wheel drive SUV with all-season tires and compared that with a rear-wheel drive or a front-wheel drive car with dedicated winter tires. What they found was the Honda CR-V with all-season tires performed pretty much the same as Toyota Camry with a dedicated winter tire. Basically, the all-wheel drive really helps start the car, but during the stopping of the car, a dedicated winter tire outperforms an all-wheel drive all-season tire any day. Keep in mind that the Honda CR-V is a much heavier vehicle than the Toyota Camry, so it was expected to do better, but it didn't. And the big difference was dedicated winter tires. So for safety, I decided to buy a dedicated winter tire. I'm going to share with you my dual rim strategy, what I'm doing in the summer and what I'm going to do in the winter. So I live in Connecticut, where we get snow for about 3 to 4 months a year. So my summer tires, which is all-season tires, are my primary tires, where I use it for about 8 months a year, and I do a lot of road tripping in the EV6. So in that scenario, I put about 75 to 80% of my miles during the non-winter seasons, and in the winter tire is going to be used sparingly. So what I really want is an extremely efficient wheel and rim set for the summer and all season, and a dedicated winter tires for January, February, maybe December timeframe. The EV6 is a great road tripping vehicle. I take a lot of road trips in the summer. I typically do 180, 190, sometimes 200 miles, somewhere between 180 to 200 miles in a charge from 80% to 20%. So I keep the battery in the sweet spot of 80 to 20%. And I typically takes only 15 minutes to charge from 20% to 80%. So instead of buying a dedicated winter rim, I decided to invest a little bit more and buy a specialty EV rim from Fast EV, the company. So they make the Fast EV rim, EV01. What it does, it has AERO inserts and is meant to be used in an EV. So I also bought it in a downsized rim size. So the typical rim size here is 19 inches, and I bought this in 18 inches with the Fast EV01 Plus, and they've guaranteed the fitment, and it actually works really well. So the benefits of going with the specialty EV rim and a downsized rim There are 5 main advantages. First, the fast EV01 rim is about 10 pounds lighter per rim than the OEM. So this is about 31 pounds, this is about 21 pounds, just the rim. If you factor in the tires, it's probably slightly more, but it's about, give or take 10 pounds lighter per tire. Number 2, it actually comes with AERO inserts. So the AERO inserts typically account for 3 to 5% of range, which matters a lot. So having an AERO inserts is extremely important. Number 3, the fast EV rims are manufactured using a slightly different process called the flow form process, which is not as good as the fully forged, but it's somewhere between the regular casting and the fully forged. So this results in a much lower weight. Number 3, if you downsize the rims from 19 inches to 18 inches, typically the range increases by 3 to 5%. The evidence is, I actually like the Kia EV GT line model, which had the 20-inch rims, and it also had the pop-up door handles. I really like the pop-up door handles, but we really ruled out the GT line primarily because of the reduction in range. It loses range about 20 miles. So it's consistent with the 3 to 5% difference. So the range improvement by downsizing from 19 to 18 will be pretty good. Now by downsizing the rim, I'm going to get a tire which has more sidewall, so increased sidewall. Instead of having a 55 aspect, this has a 60 aspect. This increases the comfort associated with the car. The EV6 is already a comfortable cruiser, so it's not as much of a factor for an EV6, but every bit helps. Now, for my friends who have a Tesla, so great cars, but they're much more sporty oriented. The suspension is more focused on sportiness than comfort. So if you get the downsized rim with a thicker sidewall, you can improve the comfort of a Tesla vehicle. Number 5, cost. The cost of an 18-inch set is about $140 lower than the cost of a 19-inch set, comparable set. It's not as big of a factor. Again, factor in, you typically use 3 to 4 sets of tires, and it all adds up. So a smaller factor, if you will. There is an optional 6th strategy that I personally did not implement. You can go with narrower tire width. A special shout out to Ford Mach E. I just don't think having a heavy EV like the Mach E riding on 225s is a good strategy. So I decided to stick with my OEM tire width, but everyone has their preference, and I just wanted to bring that up as an approach or a strategy you could use, but I decided to not use it. I had to make some tough choices and compromises with my tire selection. I love Costco tires, and they really stand behind their tires, and they offer great service. So they have a good roadside warranty as well as a tire rotation, free tire rotation for life. So those are amazing benefits, and personally I just love how they stand behind their products, especially tires. So I really wanted to look at Costco. And for ICE cars, which I had before, they had pretty good brands. So they had Michelins or Bridgestones, and I typically go with one of them. But they do not have a dedicated EV tire. So I really wanted the Hankook EV tire to maximize range, and they don't have that right now. Hopefully in a couple of years things will change, but at this point I was limited to what Costco would offer. So I picked the Defender2 tires. It's also called, Costco has a brand called Costco X-Store, which is identical to the Defender2 tires. They are very long lasting, 80,000 miles warranty, and it's a Michelin. Can't go wrong with a Michelin. Costco also has the Michelin Cross Climates, and those are extremely good tires. I think they're all-weather tires, so I personally did not choose it primarily because of the loss in range, and I have a dedicated winter tire, right? So I don't want to be driving with the all-weather tire in the summer. So I chose an all-season, which is the Defender2 tire. And longevity is the major thing, and it's not going to be as great from a range perspective as a dedicated EV tire like a Hankook, but it's going to be better in range compared to a Cross Climate. But if you only have one set of tires for the summer and winter, you should really consider the Cross Climates. They are great all-weather tires. Now, I did some testing with both the combinations, which is the Kumho CrewGen with the OEM AERO rims from Kia. And here with the Michelin Defender tires with the fast EV rims downsized to 18. So very interesting combination. So, and I typically do testing at 70 miles an hour, the out of spec style. Very, shout out to Kyle. I love his videos. So I like to keep the testing ground the same for both the tires and rim combinations. So my drive to my office from Norwalk, Connecticut to New Haven, Connecticut is a 70-mile loop, 35 each way, and I go through the Merritt Parkway, which is a little bit hilly. It goes up and down, small changes in elevation, which is typically not range friendly, and about 8 to 10 miles in the I-95, which is flattish terrain. And I typically go 70 miles an hour. I sometimes hit a little bit of traffic, typically 2 to 3 miles, but overall I have a pretty straight shot. So that's my testing area, if you will. And I was able to do multiple tests repeatedly, and did some tests more on handling as well as efficiency. I'll share with you the results. Number 1, handling and agility. I would give this to the Michelin Defender and the smaller rims associated with the fast EV rims. If you have a smaller rim as well as the Michelin Defender, which has better grip than the Kumho tires, so this typically I gain in handling. Number 2, looks can be very subjective. So whether you like the OEM tires, last but not the least, efficiency. Which combination performed better? Both the combinations from my testing performed about the same, surprisingly. So in my 70-mile test back to my office and back out of spec style, I got 3.9 miles to the kilowatt for both the combinations. So my theory is the lower rim size and lower weight of the rims from fast or the positives, they counteracted with the negatives associated with the Michelin Defender2 tires compared to the Crew Gens. Crew Gens are definitely much more efficient. So it was a wash from a highway perspective at 3.9 miles to the kilowatt, and for the local roads I got both the same, about 5.5 miles to the kilowatt. So broadly comparable. Now in my testing I used a broken in 8,000 miles Crew Gen tire with less than 100 miles or 200 miles for the Defender2 tires. So that was an unfair comparison. Tires typically break in and give much more range as you put like 1,000, 2,000 miles or so. It typically does much better. So in the longer term, I expect this combination to do slightly better than the older combination, but also better handling, longer lasting. I'm overall happy with the choice I made. I wish I had a dedicated EV tires. So my regret is that I didn't maximize the range by using a dedicated EV tire, but the outcome is not too bad, and I have a much more long-lasting, better handling car because of this. I'm going to share with you some clips associated with the before installation and after installation of the fast EV tires. I'd love to get your thoughts on which one you like more and whether my strategy and my theory behind tires and rims is right. I'd love to get your feedback into this, and also let me know what else you want me to talk about and provide a video on. Thank you. Please subscribe and share. This is how the wheels look. This is how the wheels look. And this is how with the AERO. This is how it's gonna look. Now inflating the tires. Yeah. Look at that. Now the wheel and the tire is being inflated. This is how it looks with the AERO on. And this is how the rim looks without the AERO. The weight of the rim is 20.2 pounds. And these are the old rims and tires. Alright, let's check out the weight of the new fast EV rims and the Michelin Defender tire. It's about 52 pounds, 52.5. It's about 10 pounds lighter. Alright, this is how the rims look with the fast EV01 plus wheels on. This is the end of our trip, and the car averaged about 3.9 miles to the kilowatt over 35 miles of driving. It's pretty good. I love the 19-inch rims with the Kumho Crew Gen tires. We have completed the 35-mile trip, and I am just about to enter my office, and guess what, we're about 3.8 miles to the kilowatt. It's broadly comparable to what I got for the 19-inch setup with the Kumho Crew Gen tires. I'm extremely happy